bounce back over here. Cool. All right. Well, I think we're live to the masses. I don't really know how this works, but I think we just start talking, right? And then people come and they drink from this fountain of knowledge and go out into the world better people. I think that's what I read in the description. But in all seriousness, how are you, lovely people? Maybe we could start with just a quick round of introductions, because I don't know if everyone has been introduced to our Master Gardener crew. Let's start with Marcelo. You're up in my top left, so I want to just say hi and where you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Marcelo. I'm Master Gardener here. I've not been in crypto for that long. I've actually only started putting my money in this year, by the end of last year, this year. I'm currently in Brazil, but yeah, I think I learned quick and I'm studying maths currently. So yeah, that's about it for me.
And Marcelo is very modest. He has learned an incredible amount in a short period of time, and he's been teaching classes that are amazing. So when you say that you've only been in the space a short time, I think you've put a lot of time in that short time. And so you're one of the people that I look to for just great TA and insight into the moves of the market. How about you, Bandito? Where are you at? What's your story?
Hey everyone, this is Bandito. I am a Canadian, but I'm currently lurking around the US, the southern US. I'm kind of a world lurker. You can find me kind of in any of the corners of the globe at any given time. I am an investor and a trader, and also within the garden, a crypto researcher and educator. That's pretty much where I'm at.
Awesome. Yeah. Bandito's the one who we have like a garden gathering call, and she's in a skate park in Southern California, like talking to us while dropping into quarter pipes. So keeping it elevated, our NAR level pinned. And how about you, Pete?
Yeah, hey, I'm out here in sunny Ecuador. It's not so sunny today, but doing good and watching this market, watching the bloodbath out there, watching everybody kind of freak out. I'm glad I'm not one of the ones freaking out this time, as I was last time. The last time this happened recently in May, right? So, not much of a trader. I'd say I'm more of an investor, long-term holder. But yeah, enjoying the ride.
Yeah, so great segue, expertly timed. Have you guys been paying attention today? What have you been seeing and thinking? Maybe Pete, since you were talking, just keep it rolling.
It looks pretty rough out there. I was just looking across the board. Cardano's at 207. I think just wasn't 10 days ago. I was buying it at 280. That was a pretty good choice on my end. But yeah, it's a good project. It'll come back. It doesn't feel, for me, it never came back enough to really break even to have to pay that much attention. Like it came back for everybody else that maybe got to start at the low end of this last couple of months, but I was still buying at the peaks, and we never really made it back to those peaks. And so I was on my way to making it back and started really like, oh, there we go, here we go. Maybe we get to move some stuff around, and then it's shit again. So, but even still, like I'm a lot more calm in this. This is my second run, I guess, paying attention. Maybe my third, if you count the first one when I just completely lost interest. And then, but this one, I figured it out emotionally. I don't really care, to be honest. If it goes down, I'm going to buy more. And if it goes up, great, I can rearrange my portfolio. I think it's something to be said about having a plan and sticking to it and not panicking. And this time I have a plan, and it's like, okay, this is what happens, and execute the plan when it starts to dip, and hold on and buy more, so here we are.
Yeah. How about you, Marcelo? What you been doing today?
Yeah, I didn't have much time to watch the charts. I kind of looked at it, and honestly, it's kind of looking like the pattern that you pointed out in the last video might play out really soon. Yeah, there are some key supports in the way, but I think it's kind of looking weak.
have you, I don't know, been compelled to make any moves, or what's your plan? How does this play into it in general?
Yeah, I think like if you were to ask me like a few months ago, I might say that, well, I'm gonna sell and buy back lower, but nowadays I'm just like not concerned with these kind of moves. I'm just, when I see these things, I kind of prefer like watching it play through a little bit before making any moves. At the moment, it kind of looks like a bit indeterminate if we might bounce from here or the pattern plays out. So yeah, right now I'm not doing anything specifically.
Yeah, there was someone in the comments, I think in the Crypto Garden, that was asking about, so do I sell now and try and buy back lower? And I don't think we can give any advice. This is not a place to give advice. We're just talking in general. But one of the things I observed in the last, similar crash is that it is really hard to sell and then buy back lower. Like, it makes sense in the moment, but then when you're actually experiencing it, one, you never know if it's actually going to go lower. So you have that tendency to kind of cling on longer than you would think. And then if it does go lower and you enter that space of fear, everything in the market is telling you that it's going to go even lower. That's the whole point of an accumulation range, is that the news turns negative. All those personalities that were telling you all these great stories are now telling you awful stories. So you wait and you wait and you wait, thinking it's going lower and lower and lower. And I think it could be really hard to time those bottoms, because just as in the distribution, they're always trying to make you think it's going higher. In the accumulation, they're always trying to scare you that it's going to go lower. So it's actually a pretty hard thing to catch those tops and bottoms. But how about you, Bandy? What you been doing today besides kicking ass? Oh, you might be muted.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm out here on the road, so I just pulled over to take a look at the markets, and yeah, I've been keeping my eye on it. I mean, it's kind of 10 to 20% savings, like discounts across the board within the crypto markets, which for myself, I mean, I'm not sweating it. Been through many of these cycles now, many of these swings, and for me, I look at it more as an opportunity to pick up some of the projects and the coins that that have been on my radar. You know, and have been performing really well in this last upswing. Yeah, just waiting for a good moment to get into those projects. So I see this as this time as an opportunity. I'm not I personally, for my own risk profile, I mean, I'm not invested in anything that I think is going to go to zero or has a potential to go to zero, all of a sudden. So yeah, I mean, I'm cool, man. I'm staying cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that you're a really excellent trader, and we've spent some time on calls. And so I've seen how you look at things. And I think that you have kind of an art to how you trade. And I love that you're also out on the road. You're out in the world, you're living your life, and you're able to still play in the crypto space. How have you found that balance, or what tools are you using to set your buy orders, or like how do you live out on the road and still do such a great job of just executing your plan from anywhere?
Well, you get a really good mobile data plan for one. um, this case, I mean, I travel in all different ways. So sometimes I just carry like a little bag and I go to different places in the world. This time I'm doing a bit of a different trip where I have my truck and I'm towing actually like a mobile trading unit behind like a travel trailer, which has been really cool. And yeah, you need a really good mobile data plan, and then a VPN, and just your laptop and your telephone, and you can, you got your trading view or whatever you use, access to all the different exchanges, and you just carry on as you would at home. Honestly, it's not that different than how you would approach things at home. I take my journal, obviously my crypto journal, with me, and I just stick to my plan and stick to my daily sort of my investment process, which involves waking up, doing all your self-care, and then getting in touch with the markets and reviewing your own plan, depending on whether we're in an upswing or downswing, and just going ahead from there, making your moves.
That's cool. Let's do another little round robin on that because I know Bandito, you have actually a paper journal that you keep your notes, and every time you make a trade, you're writing down. Maybe just walk us through, what that journal actually has, how it's useful to you, and then let's go round robin and see, if other people on the call kind of do something similar.
Yeah, I mean, I also use, different digital products like Excel spreadsheets to
Mm.
trade with. But my paper journal has been something that I've had since the very beginning. As soon as I got into crypto, it's a place where I would write down random thoughts, projects, coins I heard about, things I wanted to research. So it goes beyond, just trading. It's like this incredible wealth of information that sometimes, at night when I'm having my nightcap or a cup of tea or whatever it is on that given night, I'll read back through my journal, and it's just, it's stuff I would have forgotten about otherwise. So it's just been in this excellent resource for me.
Yeah, I found that just having the discipline of actually writing down what you're doing and why can slow you down. It can make you think. It keeps a history of, the last time you might have seen something like this or felt something like this and what you did and how it turned out. So I just have a running notepad on my computer where I try as best as I can to write down, when I'm going to, what it was that made me want to buy or sell or take a trade. And then it's something that I can go back to and kind of reference. How about you, Pete? I see you flipping through kind of
Yeah, I got my journal back from this year, and I have just highlight prices too, funny times. But I have like, for example, funny like Bitcoin at 55,000, almost 56. just different stuff like that, where I have a lot of my I was like taking kind of snapshots of my portfolio and writing it down and kind of tracking it by notes. And then I've since this, I've transferred to digital platforms, but I still come back and price reference this stuff. And I still use it. I'm still jotting notes in it now. And I also kind of have like my original, just like notes in a class, right? Just kind of my original rules or whatever that I have just kind of starred or underlined 3 times in there, stuff like that, so stick to the plan is one of them. And then it's funny to see some of I bought some real shit coins in that last bull run. Brick Chain Finance was one of them. And just to see kind of how excited I was going through that and how it pops up. And then I see it now and man, what a scam that was. What a rug pull. So, just to see like, learning what not to do is, just as important as learning what to do sometimes. And so it just it's a great spot to just make sure you're not making the same mistakes twice, I think. Or 3 times.
3 times and you're out.
Yeah.
How about you, Marcelo?
Yeah, so I didn't have like a proper journal from the start. I have like an Excel spreadsheet to track the trades and all. I've recently started doing the journal thing. And one thing that also helps me, especially with like very small cap coins and things that you might let, your greed take over, because these things can, go 100x, 200x in a matter of a couple of days or weeks, is you'll like write in a piece of paper exactly what you're going to do. And that, at least for me, makes me a lot more prone to following the plan actually. If I just, think it and maybe place it some file on my computer, it's one thing. But if I take a note and, like kind of pin it next to my computer and see it every time, then it makes me a lot more confident in the move I'm going to make.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. The space is so high tech that you can make a decision in like a split second with just a click of a button. And if you don't build in those speed bumps, I think it's really easy to just, and I've done this, I did this a bunch earlier this year where I just get that like kind of gut instinct. I just make a move and then I would go look at my charts and then I would go, really do the deep dive. And then I'd be like, oh man, like, I don't know why my inclination was just hit that button. So I think in a space where like the market is open 24/7, you can be, again, these are all things that I've done, listening to YouTubers under the covers at 3 a.m. and being like, oh shit, I should really scoop that up like right now. You can make bad decisions so fast in this market that, yeah, I like having the journals because it is like a speed bump. But what do you guys think about looking at some charts and just kind of taking a look at where we're at and any observations or comments
Yeah.
therein?
Yeah, let's check it out. Let's look at some charts.
Cool. Let me share my screen. And just real quick, so I play guitar, and I just recently found Anna Vidovic, and she is phenomenal, so good. She's a classical guitar player. I've been watching all of these like concerts and stuff she's done, but yeah, totally in love. Okay, so let's I always like kind of starting from the zoomed out view and then digging in a little bit deeper. So let's take a look at just the total crypto market. We've got this on the log scale. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious just today. So this is the daily time frame. And we've had, let me move my little tools here. Let's just zoom in on this present moment. So we had a pretty big wick down that we've already bounced up from a little bit, but from open to close, basically, we're looking at if we look at down to the wick, it's about 12%. Current point in time, it's about 8.4%. So, I mean, not a complete crash, but when you take that into account, all the different projects and how they all add into this total, some are more affected than others. Some of the bigger ones that I just noticed, like you were saying earlier, Pete, ADA's back down to around $2.10 from, I don't know, 50 or 60, I think, earlier this week. Obviously Bitcoin is hovering right around that kind of $43 mark. But just kind of going through my process here, some of the things that I've been looking at are, I love the Fibonacci retracements. It's always something that I just kind of bring up on the chart to kind of understand where we are from the last big move. And so with the total crypto market, we did have this very similar to the accumulation pattern that we saw in Bitcoin specifically, but in all of crypto, the same kind of pattern kind of played out. We had that spring moment in the later part of July. And the same overall pattern that we see in Bitcoin, we actually got for the total crypto, we got past the 0.7 or the 0.702 up out of the 0.786 before we fell back, kind of bounced on that 0.618. And then we broke that support today. I don't know, Cello or anyone, any comments in here before I dive into Bitcoin or anything that you've been looking at? There's so many.
One index that I've been looking a bit into is like, I think FTX, they have a few indexes for cryptocurrencies of different market caps. So for example, they have Shitperp for really low market cap. And you can see it's basically the same move.
Is it different? Oh, Shitperp, yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically the same move all over the market. And like, regardless of the size of the market cap, it kind of is the same move. And yeah, I think like today specifically, it dropped like almost the same as Bitcoin did. So yeah, I think like alts are following very, very closely Bitcoin.
Yeah, the way that I've been looking at it, right or wrongly, is with the Fibonacci retracements from the previous all-time high down to that spring moment. Each of these projects have kind of been working their own version of the same pattern. They've just been in different different time frames, or we actually saw some coins have a little bit of a moon moment. So we saw Solana earlier. There were a handful that kind of got up and built support and then shot up in their own retracements, but not all of them did. And Bitcoin is really, I think of it like a planetary body. Like, it's got this gravity that if it goes down, it just pulls everything with it. And so looking at Bitcoin against its all-time high and that same kind of retracement, we spent quite a bit of time testing underneath the 0.618. We made it up to the 0.702 and got pretty hard rejection right off of it. And then we kind of broke that support finally. So I'll kind of bring up let's save that. bring up kind of a fresh Bitcoin chart. But I'm just curious, I kind of always go through the same motions. I have a number of indicators that just are always on. So I do like my RSI oscillator on the higher time frames, especially. I do like Market Cipher. That's something that, especially when I was trading, I was using a lot. But I'm curious, what do you guys generally do if you're just getting a quick snapshot of the market? When you jump on, what are you drawing? What are you looking at? What's your process?
I'll hop in here. I usually just, it's like I'll check CoinGecko usually on my phone and throughout the day, and if I'm not actively trading, and then that whatever I see going on there might lead me back to my computer to check in with things further. I'll take a look at the 24-hour and the 7-day, kind of see what's up, and then from there, I've got my plan already, depending on where we are in the market. So I have a plan for if we go into a downswing, I'll have my coins that I'm looking at, and it's kind of there in my journal and my daily plan. So I'll sometimes I'll go to those. I have them already queued up on TradingView, and just take a look and kind of follow. Like when we're in this downswing right now, this pullback. I'll start watching closer, kind of babysitting the trades, right? Just watching for that reversal cue to find a point where I want to enter into these discounted trades.
Gotcha. So it sounds like then you're spending a lot of time in kind of this higher level view, and you only dig deeper if you're really intending to maybe make a move based on your plan, but you're just kind of checking in, checking out. If it's not interesting, you're just moving on with your day.
Yeah. And I mean, not really. I mean, it depends on the day. You guys know this. Like we're always like reading, I use Crypto Panic. I don't know. I use a bunch of different news aggregators. I'll catch news throughout the day, and if there's something going on, it'll make me pull over, stop what I'm doing, stop if I'm skating or surfing. I'll maybe make a move back to the trailer so I can investigate further.
Cool. How about you, Marcelo?
Yeah, my favorite indicator for just like having a quick look at the market is the mean reversion channel indicator. It's the first one that pops into TradingView.
Thought I had a bookmarked, but yeah.
It's pretty nice because it just like gives you multiple time frames in just a single look,
I gotta turn something off. It's worth it though, because that was a cool one. We were looking at that the other night on our garden hang. Was it this one? Oh, I already have it on. That's why. Cool. Yeah. So you want to maybe just walk us through how you look at this, what time scales you like to look at this on, what it says to you?
Yeah, so I'm usually looking at this in the 4-hour chart, and I have the multi-time frame configured for 1 day and 1 week inside the indicator, and it just like provides me with a look at the general, like where this coin is at, for example. So if it's below the mean, which is the yellow line in the middle, then, well, depending on the project and where it's at, like even bigger picture, especially in the daily and weekly timeframes, then it might be good to, kind of DCA in while it's below. And if it's well above and kind of starting to come down, then you might want to DCA out.
And so the logic here is that when you follow a trend, there is a mean, which this yellow line is indicating, and price is always either deviating away from that mean, and then it'll come back to it, and it'll oscillate basically below that mean, but it's always coming back to the mean. So if you're looking at something like this and you see that you're really far away from the mean, even in a downtrend, it will eventually come back to meet that mean and maybe even go above it. And so it's a tool to allow you to see where in the swings you are. And this is a 4-hour chart, but it works just as well if you're looking at higher time frames as well. I guess it's a little bit more black magic because in this case, we're actually above the mean. And this is where we get into some of those moving averages that make up a lot of the other TA that you see on YouTube, where you hear people talking about, the EMAs and the SMAs that are simple and exponential moving averages that are sort of shaped by the overall movement of the price. And those are also levels that things come back to and test time and again. But in this case, we're actually looking at that mean price, and we're actually above it. So we would expect to pull back. And this is also what a lot of people that do lean heavily on TA say and have been saying, is that if you want the market to go up, sometimes the best thing is to have it come back down. And so days like today aren't, in my mind, as dire as it might sound when you're watching YouTube and everything is 30 exclamation points and market crash and all this kind of stuff. But in order to build that technical structure to go back up, it's good to revisit these means. It's good to actually have longer periods of accumulation. That's where the smart money is building their positions. And then they'll launch that next buzz phase where they're marking everything up and selling it to everybody. So just kind of getting in tune with those flows is also a way to just step out of the narrative. Yeah. How about you, Pete? What's your kind of, if you're just waking up in the morning and you're checking things out, what's your ritual?
When it's crashing like this, I like to see who's crashing harder. Just like you said, how some altcoins will pop higher. Some of these will get worked harder too, So like I go through like like Bandito was saying, kind of my shopping list and see which ones I get at the biggest discount, because it's similar to like one of these top projects getting hacked. Nothing fundamentally changed with the project. They just had some bad luck, and so they come back just as strong. And sometimes you can pick up, like if the average whooping's 10%, someone's going to get whooped on by 20% in those top 20 coins, And so whenever the market's bleeding like this, I try to figure out who's bleeding the most. And maybe you can pick up a steal. The other day it was, like Uni's been getting worked on a little bit harder than DOT. And so I've been picking up a little bit more Uni here and there. And then I've been kind of watching HBAR since we had that talk way back in the day. And man, that thing's been on a tear. I think I picked it up at 18 cents and it was up in the 50s the other day. So, just those kind of relative markets down, someone's going to be down the most. So maybe that could be one of the ones that was in my portfolio that I was trying to pick up anyway. Other than that, I'm not chasing things down necessarily. I don't really care anymore about hitting it at the top or hitting it at the bottom. I'm just trying not to buy at the top or sell at the bottom now.
Yeah. And if I'm being honest, I was so obsessed with crypto earlier in this year. I was just, I was chained to these price moves. I just remember each one of them. I remember how I was feeling. And I remember, because we were hanging out during this time period too. And we were, chasing things down. We had our list of things that we were trying to scoop up, and we kind of got shook. And so I think my resolution really, as things were crashing, and maybe it's exactly what the smart money wants, they're in an accumulation, they're really trying to push that disinterest. They're trying to make it boring. They're trying to make it fearful. And so maybe I just played along that path to a T. But I really got to a place where I was not looking at this as a career that was going to make tons of money, that I was gonna be able to retire in 2 years. I looked at it more as a more interesting place to keep my money than a bank. And I just did some rearranging in this time period so I wasn't overextended, and I could take 3, 4, 5 days without even looking at the market. And more, like I only look at the market when we have these calls and I have to look smart on a camera, and I'll draw fib retracements and I'll, kind of do a spot check. But my routine lately, I'll wake up, I'll go through my entire morning, and it won't be until I, hop into the garden, start having conversations. I'm like, I wonder what's going on. I'll just open up Coinbase. I'll just kind of see what the overall market health is. And then if I need to dive in and kind of look at something, I can. But my mentality and mindset is much more long-term. And rather than putting my kids' college savings in a bank account earning 0.01% interest, I'm putting that into Bitcoin. I'm putting that into Cardano. I'm putting it into Ethereum. And if I'm making moves, I'm looking at, bigger cycles, and I might, get pitchforked for saying this, but I'm excited for the market to go back down. I'm pissed that I was not paying attention through all of 2020. I don't really want to see things go rocketing up, staggeringly. I'm more interested in just kind of this long-term playing of the game. And yeah, so that my actual routine is, today I woke up and I went on a bike ride. I didn't even look at prices until, I looked a little bit in the morning because I knew things were crashing, and then I started doing some TA ahead of this call. But that's just worked for me because I realized where this fits into my life, and it fits in a social aspect and kind of a fun, opportunity to connect with you guys, and some of the stuff that we've been talking about with like NFTs and El Salvador and these other topics are a lot more human and interesting to me than just, making 10% or whatever on a trade. So that's kind of where I've been at. But yeah, maybe it's sort of a last little round robin, and then we can kind of close this down. How has your outlook changed in 2021? Some of you have been here longer than others. I know Bandito, you've probably been around the block longer than we have. Are there any key lessons or things that stand out to you in 2021 that maybe changed your approach or was kind of eye-opening for you?
I don't know. I mean, that's a really good question. I think did I do differently this year? I guess just one thing that a lot of people, it gets reiterated a lot within the crypto space, but just, I really started taking profits and being serious about it, and not just holding on to my bags forever, the old diamond hand thing. And if you honestly do that, and if you get yourself a plan and take your profits, you find that you're less affected by these swings. You've already claimed a little bit back off of your investment, if not the whole thing, and you can kind of chill out. Specifically about the crypto market, specifically in 2021, I don't know, man. It's more of the same. And right now we're going into a big period of uncertainty, right? It's really challenging to say what's going to happen, in Q4 and then Q1 of 2022. There's a lot of FUD and uncertainty within the, the fiat scene, US dollars, and then with this whole Evergrande situation that we're all watching in China, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a lot of FUD going on right now, and we're not sure what's going to happen in the future. So again, I'm just staying the course, sticking to my plans, making sure that I take profits, and yeah, hoping that brings success in the year to come.
Yeah, I think those are great great words of wisdom. And I think there is this tendency in the space, because you see it on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, this sense that if you sell, you're like anti-crypto or you're doing it wrong. And some of my best moments this year are when, I knew I didn't make the top. I didn't time it perfectly, but I took profits out, and it felt great. And, price might have gone on, but it eventually came back down, and I felt really good in sticking with the plan. And, when you're able to take money out, it just gives you more, people call it dry powder that you can put in at other times. And that's very different from where I was earlier in the year, where I just had everything into the market and I really didn't have any opportunities when things went lower because I was kind of chained to it. So I think it can make you might feel like you're unpopular or doing something wrong to take profit when you're up. But just those simple moves in and out are, I think, what kind of makes this a profitable place to be. And I know, Marcelo, you said the other night on our call that there was a particular project where, you were watching your targets and you basically got out your money that you put in at a certain point, and then you could just let the rest of it go off and ride. And so that's a pretty cool place to be, where it's all just free money at that point. You can watch it go, and whatever it does, you're not tied to it. So how about you, Marcelo? Same question. How has 2021 treated you? What are you taking away from it?
Yeah, at the beginning of this year, I kind of started learning a lot, And well, I think it's kind of natural when we all start, we want to get things done quick and fast and want to be better than others. And so every time I like learned a bit, I went to lower time frame. So I started looking just at the daily time frame when I first started. But then one day I felt like, well, the 4 hours kind of faster, so I might go to the 4 hour. And when I noticed, I was like looking at the 15-minute chart all day long. I was really stressed out. At the end of the semester, I was even missing some content from my classes. It was really rough for me. And so more recently, I've been just kind of getting used to being a little slower again, if you can say that. And I mean, in like terms of efficiency, I think I'm even getting more out of the market now. I'm less stressed. I'm less impacted by my emotions, I think. And yeah, I feel that looking at the daily chart, I like started making my way back. So I was looking at the 15-minute, then I was looking at the 1 hour, then 4 hour. And now I basically just look at the daily chart and maybe 4 hour. And yeah, I mean, making this transition not only made me a little bit of a better trader, I think, because, you know, less emotions, but it also made me my life a lot better, I think. So yeah, it's been like a wild roller coaster ride, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's good. It's good to hear that you're in a place where you're just feeling less stress. And I feel like we get the best of you every time that you're, you know, in a class or teaching or on a call. So it's, yeah, I love that you just embody that calm, cool, collected competency. How about you, Pete? It's been a wild ride, my friend.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy, but I mean, it just actually happened today. My friend called me. It was like, yeah, my account was up to 20 and it's down to 15. So I hit the button. You know, and I just don't do that. I don't do that anymore. I'm not sitting there just watching it like, do I hit it now? Do I hit it now? And like, and I care. I mean, I love crypto and I love the opportunity. And, you know, as far as seeing El Salvador turn the page on that, I don't know what's more exciting than that. I got a little background noise here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but um, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. You know, we got national adoption out of institutional adoption. That's the next step, and it's moving that direction. And you know, similar to kind of echoing what you said, if the market goes down a little bit, it gives me a chance because I missed my bigger shot. You know, and so every time it dips, I truly look at it as an opportunity. I'm not. I don't really. I'm not going to cash in my portfolio tomorrow anyway. You know what I mean? And I think that's like the biggest thing where it's like if you're new to this market, you're not used to the volatility. You know, my account overall was up to 22 grand when I hit that Wayu thing the other day, and it's down to 13 now. So that kind of volatility, like maybe 6 months ago, would have broken my heart. You know, I've been like, oh my God, you know, and like it doesn't even phase me now. It doesn't even remotely phase me because I wasn't going to sell today anyway. You know what I mean? And so you don't count your losses until you actually make the transaction. And I wasn't going to do the transaction anyway today, and it's crashing, so I don't care, you know? So it's just like, there's so many more dynamic things in the market, like you said, NFTs and just different ways that technologies applying itself. And I'm just having fun, man, trying to keep up and try not to get smoked at the same time, you know, doing all that stuff. And you know, one of the hard things is still like to adopt discipline in your strategy, but then also not be afraid to chase your gut, you know, because sometimes you want to have luck, but something that could come across as luck is actually the culmination of a lot of studying, right? Or a culmination of timing, of putting yourself in a lot of these environments to where you're learning. So when then an opportunity comes up, you don't have to do a lot of research. Your research is already done and you can execute on that. And so I'm trying to find that balance of like trusting my gut that, yep, that's a good project, or what are you doing? Have you done the research to get into that specific project? You know what I mean? And so there's that fine balance. And I think that's just a progression of not being in your rookie year, you know, coming out of your rookie year, we have a little bit more foundation, like where I can say like, okay, that project is backed by Sol and it's backed by some of them. Just knowing the names of these projects, one, can give it some credibility where, you know, maybe 6 months ago, I was like, who is Sol? Where's Solana? And just starting from scratch. You know, I'm not starting from scratch anymore. So I can move faster. So I think it's just a matter of melding all that crap together. who knows what's happening in this market, you know? And I think just saying that, like saying you don't know, I think it's a huge first step. So I don't know if I was saying that back in May. So.
Right on, man. Yeah, it's been an adventure and it's been fun to kind of have friends to go through it with. Cause I remember when we first met, just how like over the moon we were. And
Yeah.
that's probably been my biggest thing this year is, this whole Wyckoff thing and YouTube kind of kicked me into a very different space than I expected to be. And it was sort of like the red pill moment in the Matrix where I really wanted to believe, and I did believe in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin as being decentralized, untouched by the institutions. And I really believed in that vision, like hardcore. And so it was kind of earth shattering to realize that this is a market. And as far as the price action goes, the smart money has shown up. They know how to move markets. They've done that. That's what they do. And so realizing that you have to have kind of street smarts as well as just the star-eyed, I made a joke on the last video, the diamond eyes and laser hands, like that's all well and good to be buying into that narrative, but you have to be careful because this space in and of itself is an echo chamber that will amplify the fear and the greed. And so for me, like the biggest takeaways have really been understanding how YouTube bends the prices. And on days like today, if you go look at YouTube, I guarantee you, there's red flashing lights, there's 30 exclamation points on the end of everything, crashing this. Like it's just this over dramatized perspective, and it gets people to do the worst things at the worst time. And at one point I was really kind of pissed off at the content creators. I was pissed off at the people I've been watching who had been telling me all this stuff. I'd actually been making financial decisions based on what some, kid in a basement in Sri Lanka was telling me. And that's on me, but still, like I felt like there was this responsibility that should be in this space for content creators to be more responsible. But then getting into YouTube and, starting this channel and having people show up and seeing how much YouTube is the beast that's being fed. YouTube just wants your clicks. It wants your eyeballs. It wants your attention. It doesn't matter if it's crypto or knitting or classical guitar. The algorithms are really set up so that content creators have to bend in that direction in order to be watched. And so in the end, I think it comes back to the audience members and really recognizing, do you just want that narrative that you want to hear? Or are you going to not click on that clickbait and, maybe even not even go to YouTube for these types of decisions? I think it's such a weird and toxic space. And I would like to do something about it. But the more I play in it, the more I really question if it's even possible, because at the end of the day, we are being manipulated. We're being manipulated by the platforms that we're on, where we're exchanging media. And we're being manipulated in a market that is driven by our emotions. And so, yeah, that's been my big takeaway, is that I'd rather be on my bike, out in the sun with friends and checking into this periodically than huffing crypto fumes and being as, tweaked out as I was earlier this year. And that's made a huge difference in my just happiness and well-being. But anyway, that's my soapbox to stand on, and I won't hit you with it any harder than I already have. But I think this was a good first experimental live stream. It's the first time we've hit the button on a working without a net. And yeah, any final thoughts? What are you guys gonna do next?
I'm going surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to the
Perfect.
gym in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I got a road trip back to Keno. I got about a 2-hour drive, so I'm gonna get going. But thank you guys for the chat. That was awesome.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Well, stay safe and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
Hey,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.